tried the first 2 months, and then we were like, heck no,
we can't do this.
We cannot do this.
I think 90% of our first 6 months, 90% of fights were because of the kid. You aren't waking up at because I didn't want to help.
Because I'm the one with the boobs.
You are the one with the boobs.
Yeah, so I had to really like cut fear, and then when I think, man, I've cut it, something else comes and I'm like, I'm also cutting you. Like,
Hi, Soila.
most people know you as David Oyukes.
Funny enough, it depends on who you ask, because some people are like, your name is David, you know. Especially like if it's in artistic circles, guys know me as Skills. So. Yeah.
All right. So the first question: what is the first gift she ever bought for you, and where is it now?
Whew.
I don't know if it was a book or if it was a pencil skirt, which I really wanted.
Let me go back to the archives, man. Hi.
The pencil skirt, hallelujah, is still in my closet. Thank God. I can't wait. But it's very fancy. So
I think the first gift that she ever got me was even before we were married. It's when we had a fling. Many years back. It was actually a card. She was a very big card gifter. So she gave me a card. And of course it's not there anymore. Tulikosana many years ago. Sijui kama iliwashwa. Alichoma picha nikachoma card. So
as for the book, Aki, and he keeps telling me hujaisoma, Aki sijaisoma. Maybe labda chapter 1.
The house is burning down. What 3 items would Koki rescue from the house?
Is Jasmine an item?
No, you and Jasmine are out.
He'll pick his laptop for sure. 3 items. His phone. Laptop, phone. Me and say and his comb. Anapenda hiyo nywele tu sana. Anapenda hiyo nywele sana. Akona either comb or that ka brush thing to make sijui hair look fancy. Anaipenda tu sana.
One, her laptop. Another thing, her phone. And what else? What's the third thing? Maybe where she puts like her IDs and stuff.
Like those documents.
Yeah.
All right. Name one good quality that David has that you wish you had.
The ability to keep quiet when you really want to talk. Sijui kama like his mouth just sews itself inajishona. Mimi yangu, if there's a zip tunaitupa, okay? I want that quality in my life.
Good. If Koki was an activist in the US, which area of interest would she focus on?
Oh, that's simple. Like women matters, especially.
All right.
Excuse, Black Lives Matter. Which lives don't matter? Matter. As in kila kitu ya just action. He needs action. So Dave would have come up with Black Lives Matter. He would have also been like a film producer, director for Black Lives Matter. Written books, had talks and conversations that are just for Black Lives Matter.
What Marvel superhero would Koki be and why?
Who Marvel superhero? Who would she be?
I'd say, and not Thor akona madrama na nongeanga mob. What Marvel character I'd want to say?
Koki might have been, I don't want to say Spider-Man, because Spider-Man just shoots webs. Like, man, he's a web designer, that's all he is.
I'd say Spider-Man because he's fun. Though I don't know if Dave would agree. I think he'd be Spider-Man because, but if Spider-Man had a family, that's Dave.
That's
Probably either Doctor Strange or I'd probably say someone like Doctor Strange.
okay.
Yeah.
Why?
Koki and time, man. Like, she has a thing about time. She's nostalgic. So she's the type of person who, if she had the ability to go back into time to enjoy a good song, she probably would.
What is the silliest fight that you have ever had that you often laugh about when you remember it?
Oh, please. What is ugali and mala and how do you eat it?
Oh, how to eat ugali and mala.
What?
Yes. Like, apparently, they believed it's like this mythical thing that everybody eats ugali and mala by putting the mala in a bowl and putting the mala in a bowl and mixing it to the ugali, almost like cereal. I was like, people don't do that.
Ugali and mala. It was World War Z. We were like, was it like 2 or 3 months? And I was just thinking, who is this man? How to eat ugali and mala? I don't know if he said it, but then, you know me, I had not seen people you drink mala holding ugali. So me nilimserve in a bowl. He's like, what is this? I'm like, it's dinner.
Did you mix it with ugali?
I mixed it. That's how we eat it.
She was like, ask anyone. So she started calling people and everyone was like, you are the only one who does it. So she called her family and the family was like, everybody does it. Then they called guys and they were told, you guys are the only ones who do it. So apparently it's either a cow thing or it's just a them thing.
It's a them thing.
But we had a big fight. Like, we didn't speak for a while.
Oh my God.
Because she was like, what do you mean you're eating mala in a glass and ugali on the side? I'm like, Kwani, how is it eaten?
That's how I've always eaten it in Ushago, wherever I've been. So I'm giving him, he's like, what is this? I'm like, it's dinner. He's like, no, it's supposed to be in a cup. I'm like, please, Jesus, perish the thought. This man is not taking me to the Stone Ages. Kumbe, when we ask our friends, it's just like, honestly, there's a friend, it's only one friend on social media who said they eat like us.
Now, do you still do it in the bowl?
You think we've ever eaten ugali and mala since that day? Please, let peace reign. Let it flow like water in our household. Hakuna ugali and mala.
So nice.
So it was a whole big argument.
That's a nice one. What's the best memory you have of your daughter?
Oh, man. Like,
I think it's when she said mama and like she was happy and she knew she was saying mama. Oh my God, that was the best thing ever. Because I was like, and she'd smile, say mama, and then best thing.
I think just for me, it's her being born and just holding her, especially because she was born like during, COVID and curfew and all these type of things. I only had 5 minutes to see her when she was born. But I just, I'm looking at her right now. I'm just in that moment and just seeing how beautiful she is, her baby cry and everything, as an immaculate moment. Yeah.
Which character trait has your daughter picked from your husband that you absolutely adore?
I want to say, to be honest, because I was told when I was a kid I wasn't very big on sharing, I want to say she got kindness from the dad. Because she's so kind and so sweet, shares all the time. I love that.
I think one thing that I can say, I think she has the personality of my wife. She's very playful and very loud. She's loud and she will sing like she'll see something right now, she'll watch it for a bit if it's a song, by like 3 times she will sing it, and I'm like, yeah, that reminds me of Koki.
That's so brilliant. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana to what we know for sure season 2, episode 3.
Okay.
Wait.
Yeah, so Yeah, and as you guys can see, today we have very special guests. Now, these guys are not new to you. They've been in our channel before.
They're new to new subscribers. If they
To new
haven't
subscribers.
watched,
Hey, new
they want to know for
subscribers.
But they are
sure.
not new in the channel.
No.
On the channel, rather.
Even they're not new to our lives.
Yeah.
Aw.
And we hosted them on the first What We Know For Sure, and they talked. You guys, we talked
Don't tell them.
When they were on.
They didn't watch.
But what you didn't know is that you guys have watched our miscarriage story. We told you the journey we went through until now when we are parents. Glory to God. What you didn't know is that as we were shooting that episode in What We Know For Sure, both of us were expecting at that time.
We didn't know.
And even us, we didn't know about each other, but we had suspicions. we were suspicious of each other. So our children,
Nakava tent ndo wasijue.
and our kids are actually
Almost.
2 weeks apart.
Yeah.
And just before you start imagining things, I didn't call skills and go like, hey, by the way, it's a good time to conceive.
But he texted.
Yeah, but the interesting thing is that we share the same kind of story,
Yeah.
even with the miscarriage.
Yeah.
We had 3 miscarriages before we finally conceived. They had 3 miscarriages before they finally conceived.
Yeah.
So it's very interesting.
It's
very
brotherhood,
interesting.
Julia.
Brotherhood.
Solidarity.
Solidarity, man.
When this together. Yeah, so this is David and Koki Oyuke, very brilliant people, very exciting people, as you're about to see in a few minutes.
And Jasmine.
And Jasmine is
She's
their
asleep,
daughter.
yes.
Yeah. So a lot of this episode is going to revolve around how it has been after experiencing a lot of miscarriages to now that you're a parent, and how the whole thing has been. So yeah.
It's good to be back.
Yes, it
And
is.
hang out with this cool
Yeah, you
crew.
know.
Yeah. Man,
You asked for them, guys.
It's been a while.
Yeah.
Hi, new subscribers.
Yeah.
You guys are hanging with some very cool people.
We try.
Yeah, but not really. I think it's been a very interesting space, to be honest. And even you're talking about how we were going through all those things. You know, vulnerability is a very interesting thing. Like, you don't know how to share and how to break.
Yeah, what to give, what not to share.
Yeah.
Yes.
And I don't know if you felt this, but it was very weird
Yeah.
as a man going through it.
Yeah.
Because it's kind of expected. You're supposed to support the chick. We're feeling zako.
Wewe unafaa kukaa
Back
ngumu.
them forward.
Eka chini ya mattress.
You are the backbone. Stay sober, stay strong.
Yeah.
Aye, so it was weird.
Yeah.
It was so interesting. Yeah.
So the first question
Yeah.
that I would have for you guys is, how was your first year of parenting? And probably in that, I know you can give a whole story,
Yeah.
but probably you can tell us one highlight and one low light.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Okay, you
I
want to start?
think I loved how it was so new, it was so fresh. It's like, this person is here, what are we going to do? How are we going to, what is life? I didn't know how it was going to be being 3 of us. Of course, now who predicts COVID? Okay, but that's a true to actually, because it was day 2 of lockdown when I had to be going to hospital. And me, honestly, with the contractions and sijui curfew was what? That time it was 7.
The first time it was 7.
It was 7.
Where?
And me, I was like, sikutaka kulala hospitali because I was told, oh, you're 1 centimeter. I was so mad because it had been 13 hours and I'm still 1 centimeter.
Hata 1 centimeter mango menendangaje?
Hata 1 centimeter away. Let me tell you, it was so annoying. I said I'll stay home. When I'm there, it's 3 a.m. I'm like, David, you better natembea. I will walk to the hospital.
Oh,
if
yeah,
you
because it
want.
isn't as far.
It's not far, but then I was like,
But with the
lockdown in
contraction.
Mimi nataka, as in
But it's because you're also hard-headed.
yeah,
Just say it.
I was.
Like-
I didn't want to stay there. I was just like, I stay there and then it's a new place.
Had you already
Decided-
visited the hospital? And
Yeah.
then-
And
I
then
took
they
her to the
told me.
hospital, and then they sang Jaguar's song for her, that 1 centimeter thing, and then she was like, "Just get me out of here." I'm like, "At least just stay here."
Why should I? Anyway, I understood
Yeah.
lockdown, but then I was like, it's okay, I'll handle it. I could not handle a thing. Okay, I was dying. 3 a.m. in summer. Just
What?
we go. Seriously. So we just went. And then I think that's when I was told to stay. I was like, it's 3 now, by 6. Nope. But anyway, so you don't even know how life will be being 3 of you guys, because you're used to being 2. So of course I actually understand those emotions. Like early on, I'm just like, oh my god, my baby. When she was born, she cried, I cried. I stayed crying, and she was fine. I was like, oh my goodness, I'm holding you. I was so happy. There was that, of course, the hunger. When I say some of these things, you have to understand a lot of our arguments were because your girl is hungry, okay? Mtoto anakula. I'm dying. Where's my food? It was so bad. Because I'd be like, Dave, it's like, at least let's have a rhythm. Nikule, breakfast, lunch, when it's like 1:01. I'm like, where's the food? I'm dying.
You lose it.
I'm dying because I'm just trying to just... And honestly, that hunger is so bad. So it's very strong, right? And
Because you're constantly breastfeeding.
right. So like...
Right?
Yeah.
So I think one of the highlights was having her there, staring at her, just holding her. Honestly, like, we still do that. I mean, as much as she allows us. Because sometimes she'll just push her faces, like... But just having her in our lives, and then, I don't know. I think for me that was one of the highlights.
Yeah.
Just she's now ours.
Yeah.
For you?
I think for me, parenting was, in the early stages, very strange, I'll be honest. Because, like, it's gonna sound very weird, but sometimes you're like, is it a toy? Because it's like,
Actually, a human being.
yeah, you're like, how is a human this small? And it's like,
Yeah.
it was so weird. I was like, am I the only one who thinks this? And of
It's
course,
a man's thing.
it was so, honestly, it was so weird. I'm like, what should I do with this small human? And then I'm like, who looks like us combined?
You who looks like him.
Yeah, looked like me at first, and then I was like, hey, okay, this is so weird. So of course there's that coming home and bringing them home, and the neighbors are there like, oh, Tata, which was really cool, our next door neighbors. And then there's the daily things for, she's tired by 7 a.m, she needs breakfast, and I'm just like, what is this, but we tried the first, 2 months?
Yes.
And then we were like, heck no.
We can't do this.
We
alone.
cannot do this. Because like I used to try, cook, do dishes, do laundry, do everything.
Well done.
And at the same time, like we had started working from home earlier, so I'm working. She can't do that because she's constantly with jazz.
And she's healing.
And
I
she's
mean,
healing,
pushing
man,
and having
and,
the way.
And of course, like I didn't feel as though, I'm only doing this because I'm like, nah. I'm like, I want to do this.
Yeah.
But it reached breaking point, and we started arguing a lot, especially because of timing and schedules. 7 a.m. she needs to eat. I'm probably maybe trying to get some work done. 1 p.m. a job has come in, she's hungry, it reached a point where just like, what, there's COVID, watavaa mask hata kama ni 10, kuna mtu anakuja kutengeneza nyumba, like we cannot do this anymore.
It really helped.
It saved us. It saved us a whole lot.
I'm glad that you've mentioned that a lot of fights happened when the kid came. Because for us, I think 90% of our first 6 months, 90% of fights were because of the kid. And it's not that the baby is the problem; it's the adjustments.
That's true.
So it's good to know that there are people. You are not crazy.
Oh no, it's true. I mean, it
so
takes so much from me, and I'm like, they are so little, yet they turn around your world. I'm like, what?
Your son literally turns.
Yeah, I thought it's just breastfeeding and then they sleep. But again, there's so much, your body's going through the most. You're hungry most of the time. Your baby's crying. And then my son got colic. It was just so bad. And I'm like, and then I don't know why I'd feel like he's having
An
the
easy
best of
time.
life. Yes.
No.
I'm having
Oh,
the hard
that,
time.
oh.
Because I'm like, how can you sit down and watch a movie? Why?
Ati, I'm eating slowly. Me, let me tell you the argument. Ati Dave is like, I haven't finished my food. I'm like, 40 years. Me, I'm there. I'm doing everything, eating. It's not a leisurely activity. I hear watch animals at chakula. I'm like, for life. You've been eating for like 20 what minutes. Mimi nakula hivi. Because najua I'll need to pump.
Yeah.
But then for you, I was just like, must be so nice. It must be nice.
Yeah.
I think that's the other thing that also made me a bit like Curtis is actually enjoying life, and I'm the one to wake up every 2 hours at night to breastfeed.
But if you remember, you aren't waking up every 2 hours.
I used to wake up every 2 hours
You aren't waking up because I didn't want to help.
because I'm the one with the boobs.
You are the one with the boobs. Yeah, because sometimes they want the boob not because they are hungry.
Imagine
It's their
she's
comfort.
should still know.
Because like literally like I used to give her like the bottle.
And she'd
Dem anapiga flash.
okay.
Yani I'm like, unachapaje?
Girl.
I'm like, you're just man, so unachapaje to flash. You know, and then she just look at me and then just go, doof. But then it's like whenever mom would, they just go, ba, 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 you know, and she's just like round 2, you know, baby shark, and I'm just like, wow, this is a monster appetite, you know. So like I honestly get it, because honestly sometimes you feel helpless, like as a guy, because it's not like we don't want to help. It's like we've done everything, but it's still not enough. You know, we're like, okay, so what more can I do? You know, and then at the same time you don't want to tell, you know, your wife like nimejaribu kila kitu nataka nifanye.
Hey, you can't. No, don't dare.
You know, so it's like you're in between two places. You're like, honestly, I'm doing everything. The only thing I'm not doing is breastfeeding. Yes. But everything else I'm doing, and it's not enough.
I'd feel bad. Other times I'd feel bad that you're actually snorting, and me, I'm not. What? I'm like, how can you have such a deep sleep? I know.
Like, you know, that time she would ask us, so it's a philosophical question. Like, how are you able to sleep?
Yeah.
I'm like, normally? Like, and I do not even say it with the words normally. It's like, and then, you know, because you're oblivious. Because you're like, what was happening at night? You know?
Like, she woke up this time and this time.
Exactly.
Us that time, honestly, we're dreaming. And it's not because you're like, body.
It's not that we don't care.
You know, it's not like.
And that's why we would take up things like washing them.
Yeah, taking up other roles,
doing
that's not
diapers,
feeding,
sometimes preparing food.
Yeah.
Because that's the best we can do at that particular point.
Because at the same time, at that age, they want their mother.
Yeah, they are dependent on their mom a lot.
And so it becomes so complex, because you're like, how do I make both of them happy?
Yeah.
You know, how do I make my wife happy? How do I make my baby happy?
Especially if you're self-employed.
Yeah.
So self-employed hauna paternity leave.
Actually, I remember that was one of the things that really was so hard for Dave, because everyone is so happy, you know, working from home. But then if home is work and then home is home, like with a newborn,
you don't know what time to rest.
Fun.
You don't know what time to work.
So next question, that's for you.
How did you guys handle miscarriage, PTSD, when the baby was already born? Fears of seeds, you know, fears of doing it wrong, fears of harming them, accidents, and so many fears that come along with having gone through miscarriages.
Because you already have that fear of lost.
And
so it's like a lingering thing. You know.
Probably can answer it during the pregnancy period of it. Having gone through miscarriages, now the pregnancy, and then now you've given birth, and like, did you still have fear lingering? I'm like, are we actually going to have her for long? Is anything going to happen?
Man, like, you know, nobody prepares you for like having to undo the effects of fear. You know, because everybody handles fear differently. You know, and everybody handles loss differently, you know. There's some people who'd be like, oh, you know, you didn't necessarily lose because they didn't come and whatever, you know, and it's
consolation.
Yeah, it's just a whole traumatic experience.
It is.
You know, and so now you have a whole setting, and again I'm gonna speak like a dude, because most of the time men are put outside of the conversation. It's like boys go outside, the women want to talk. You know, so right now I'm like, no, dudes, come back in. Let's have a conversation. There's a lot of helplessness that comes with it, right? And you know, men, you're always taught, you know, be strong, be there for your, you know, your wife and all the kind of things. But you can't do anything for what's growing inside of your wife. And it's helpless. It is so helpless. Like unaweza kuwa first body yani unaweza kuwa dark side Thanos and Chuck Norris all in one. But there's nothing you can do. You know, and like the reliance on God was just on a whole other level. I just tell you that. And I had to force myself to be peaceful. You know, people think and talk as though peace is something easy. I had to force myself to be peaceful. Every time I would see my wife's belly grow, it would be an opportunity to be afraid.
True. Or when I touch my belly at a certain point, looking uncomfortable.
Because are those moments of
I remember.
Soila used to do that.
Wow.
Just say, babe, what's up?
Like I was like, yo, like, should we go to hospital? Like, you know, hospital? She's like, no, it's okay, you know. And then now when you start feeling the baby kicking, and then you're like, now this is real. Like this is, you know, like. So it was jittery, to be honest. And then of course there's also the fears that you hear about childbirth. You know, and you're like,
and stillbirth.
Yeah, man. You know, and you're just like, God, I wish, you know, you could sneeze and the baby comes out of your nose. Yeah. You know, just like, you know, like, you know,
easy.
But you just look and you're like, oh man, like God is just, honestly, if you don't give us the peace and the strength and the courage, I don't know how we're gonna make it. You know, and then the baby comes. Then now you're like, okay, is mom okay? Is the baby okay? Cool. Now they're good. And then now you talked about like stuff like SIDS and you know those kind of things. I was the type of person, like, even until today, I always look at her belly. I'm like, is it still doing it?
I do that.
Okay. Yeah, you know,
I
right?
still do
So it's
that.
like, you know, it's like, oof, you know. Every time I would be like, and then if I see she's Nini, I'll just be like, so if she squirms, I'm like, okay, we're good. You know, and honestly, I ask myself, like, do other parents who've not gone through, you know, loss and stuff go through these things? You know, like, I don't know if they do, you know, but
I do that all the time. Every time I go to bed, I have to go to his room
I remember,
and do, is he warm? We are good.
I remember because he used to wake up every 2 hours.
Yeah.
So, you know, as they grow older, they start sleeping longer.
yeah.
So the first day he slept for 5 hours, like, is this child okay? How is he sleeping for 5 hours? You know, whereby you know what you're thinking, but you're trying to pretend you are not thinking. So you go and check, you go, okay, I can feel some breath. But yeah, you remember, I had those moments.
With this time, I'm trying to, with this time, like when I was pregnant with her, of course, if you've gone through loss, it's, do I even want to be happy?
Yeah.
Do I even want to celebrate? Because, you know, it just feels like everything is robbed. So the first time we didn't get to announce, because I was like, I wanted it to be a secret between us. Oh, how many secrets did we keep? All of them. I was like, so there's a time later, even though I'm skipping steps, there's a time when I was maybe in my 3rd trimester, and I don't know how I got like a recommendation for, you know, baby pregnancy, they're called what? Announcements.
Yeah.
I stayed there for like weeks watching and crying because I was like, I can't believe I didn't get to do this 4 times. So it's like I was grieving. I was like, oh God, I you were there when a friend of ours again, we didn't know we were both pregnant.
Yeah, we did.
But you knew you were, and I was.
Yeah.
So there's a friend of ours who was like, guys, you know, I want to tell you, Aki, and I told her, you are the most gorgeous, like,
I know.
I love, I took it, and actually that's when I started getting those recommendations. I think she said she was maybe like, was it like 5 weeks or 6 weeks? And when she was telling me, you remember, nilikuwa tu kadomo. I was like, wow. I said, look at you. I was like, Dave, this is
I was just like,
this is what's called bravery and faith.
I know.
And
so me, I remember that point, nearly, yep. Everyone was just like, congrats. I was like, wow, look, you guys are amazing. And that's when the grief started. I was like, Jesus, is that how it is?
Yeah.
Must be nice. Because for me, I was just like, what? So that's when, I don't know, it's like God was like, hey, turushe ka video hapo for pregnancy needs, and I'd listen, and some of the people are there for like, oh, you know, we just tested yesterday. I'm like, clap for yourself.
I know, and the whole world knows.
Wow. I just like, will I ever get to do that? Also, that's something I'm thinking. Will I ever get to do that? Will I ever just be so Honestly, I remember with a friend of mine, we talk about how we miss our naivety. Yani, I miss it. I miss that. You know, you just you have sex, you're pregnant immediately.
Yeah.
I'm just like, I miss that. Like, I feel like a part of me just died somewhere. And it's like, wow.
Yeah.
You know, it's like, oh my god, this is it, guys. Like,
Yeah.
like Dave,
Yeah.
we're so pregnant. I want that. I want that naivety so bad.
I get you.
So I think for me it was hard when we were pregnant because from the very beginning, yani me, I was tormented in my dreams. My dreams were bad. I'd get and I'd always tell Dave, because I was
Yeah.
like, if I don't pay, I'm just going to I'll suffer and die. Mara, I'm sujui where, and then someone gives me a pill and it's like, and I'm like, no, I don't want a baby to die. Like, what's wrong with you? I'm serious. And then another time, so your baby is going to die on
Is it 10th September or something?
something like that.
Yeah.
Tunaenda hospitali went 7th September.
Oh, so you still
So-
have the memories of your.
So when we go to the scan, that's a scan. when
And she
you
didn't
see
tell
her.
me.
I
She kept
didn't.
on asking me,
'Cause
what
I
day is
kept
it? What day is it? I'm like, why are you asking me about the days? So she only told me about that dream
After the scan.
after 10th September. Like,
Yeah.
fast.
I was like, don't worry. Like I prayed and I was like, I mean, no. But then, so like having those tormenting dreams, yani just over
Fear,
and
man.
over and over.
That's fear.
And then I think when you're pregnant and then you've had stories of people who, by the way, my heart breaks, you've lost a baby at birth or like shortly after, and I know a few people who have, and it's just, there's that thing that comes even if you've gone through loss, and it's like survivor's guilt. Like, yes, we've been
Yeah.
through miscarriage, but then now we're here, and others who also went through it, but then they
Yeah.
didn't. And it's one of those things for me I had to process with God. For I will not let joy be a part. Like, I will be joyful.
I still feel the weight of, I think because of loss, I think it's, I don't know if you'll be living with it, but I still, the stories that you're sharing of different people that have lost their kids at birth, and I'm like, okay, that must be heavier probably than what I experienced, because I never got to see the baby. But either way, it's still loss. And I still feel, when I hear those stories, I go back and I feel the weight for them. Like, oh my, I can even cry on their behalf, because I know what it means
Yeah.
to lose something you really expected. I'm like, what?
You know, it's funny. For me, I didn't feel like I had a right to feel hurt because I'm a man.
Wow.
I didn't feel like I had a right. I didn't feel like there was a space as a man to feel pain.
True.
It felt as though my only job was to ensure that my wife
Is okay.
is alright.
Did you like suppress your feelings in that?
Horribly.
And it would come out in certain moments, because when I'm processing, because I remember, like, even with our first miscarriage, where, I mean, it's the first time, it's not like, okay, now how do we handle this? And you know, you're processing, praying about it, you're trying to make sense of things. And I remember it's like the name of our baby came to me, and I was so happy, because it felt like you're not just a thing that just failed when I was, you know, having contractions, and then I went to pee. So I ran to Dave. I was so happy. I was like, oh my god, you believe it, this is our baby's name. And he just wept, and he was like, no. And I was like, I thought this would encourage you, but it's like broke him. And I was like,
what's happening?
and I got to understand, first, something that I learned: men, and if anyone, of course, not life has things that happen. So when you go through a miscarriage, how your husband, how your man might go through it is having this sense of wanting to fix things. If they have a car, they'll want to fix that car. If they are never handymen, they will want to make the cabinets. They'll want to, because it's how they process grief.
Yeah.
It took me a long time to get it, and for him, he told me, you can't just throw everything on me. Like, for him, he went through proper counseling, because he was like, I'm carrying this, I'm carrying my own things, I am drowning. So getting someone else outside of it, because for me it would be other people, but for him, like, I understood the need for someone who is removed. But for me, I was like, which person is not a part of my life? So that they can just hear and see me angry, because I was angry.
That is.
Hey, you know, Skills is speaking, and I'm like, I'm now realizing that I was going through certain things I had no idea.
True.
Until he's talking about them.
Yeah.
Because I realized that was the time I'll be very involved with my artwork.
Oh my god, I used to hate that I go to the studio. I'm like, what?
That's the time I'm doing paintings.
Yes.
I'm having master classes.
It's true.
Because at least that's working.
Yeah.
You know?
Oh, you actually
It's the only
Yeah.
thing you could
It's
probably
the only
have
thing that
control
was
over.
working
Yeah.
and I could have control over. But even when I was teaching my students, I was having master classes at the time. It's, you know, you're trying to focus on something, but there's this thing that keeps on pecking you at the back of your mind.
Yeah.
And I used to think, that was happening a lot. Because I was in the middle of things, but I'm like, you had a miscarriage. Then I would have these moments of a few seconds of processing it. Then I go back. You had a miscarriage.
Yeah.
And it kept coming until, I think it in God's way, ilifika to point even the art thing was not working anymore. Business was bad.
Yeah.
I was not getting a job. I was not getting clients. And I
Yeah.
think it was God's way of, Curtis, you need to focus on this and
Yeah.
Deal
this
with
thing.
the emotions.
I think that's when we actually talked with Soila and just got into the thick of things.
Yeah.
And then I remember once now we got pregnant the fourth time. Every time because you know you mark the dates in which you lost the other
I
pregnancy.
Oh yeah, I'm like, okay, we are 6 weeks now.
Yeah. So every time you pass that date, okay, that's like a checkpoint.
12 weeks is the
Pass- yeah.
we used to lose a bit more. I remember 6 and 7 week was our lost time, and then the second one was when you're just going into a
12th,
second
yeah.
trimester. I'm
Yeah.
like, so it was too big for us to even go through the loss normally.
Yeah.
And I'm like, that was the last straw for me. I'm like, I am done with life.
Because for Soila, it genuinely, what made me realize this is now serious is the day we were just chilling in the house. It was just in that grieving mood. Then Soila just looked at me and asked, is it okay to desire death?
I have things to say about that.
It's not uncommon.
It's
And I was like, okay, this is where we are now,
Yeah.
you know? And that's when I realized by then we actually really need to sort
To
this
talk
out.
about it,
Yeah.
and now invited a counselor in.
Yeah.
Man, I'm glad that we get to talk about them.
Yeah.
You know.
And I think, for the first question, because I know somebody might still be going through that. They've just gotten a newborn and they're still trying to figure out
Yeah.
how to do things. They're just the two of them in the house. What can you tell them? What pointers or that really worked for you guys? I know bringing a help was one
Yeah.
of the main things, but also how can you probably guide them in trying to maneuver
I think-
that situation?
I think one of the most important things is to define and refine your expectations, because you can define the expectations that you have, but you'll realize you guys are human. Things will change. So don't
And you
just
get tired.
and you get tired. You know, so don't just stick to we had these expectations.
Yeah.
Refine them if need be.
Yeah.
You know, communicate a lot.
Communication, yes. I agree.
Share not only your expectations, but share your emotions.
Yeah.
Because some things can be so technical, it feels like a job description. You know, I expect that at this time when I'm working, you and Jasmine will be in the bedroom. It just feels
Yeah.
like a job description. You know, remove a lot of all those technicalities. And remember, you guys are married.
Yeah.
You know, this is
It's a family.
Yeah, it's a family.
It's not
you
an
know?
office.
And it's new.
Yeah.
And it's new to both of
it's
you.
new
You're both
for the
learning.
kid.
Yeah.
She was inside, now
Yeah.
she's outside. It's
Yeah.
new for me.
Yeah.
I think also realizing that honestly, with women, how the body changes. I don't know how it was. First, pregnancy and all the changes it comes with. Birth and all the changes it comes with. When your hormones again rewire because now your menses are back and all the changes, I was just like, I have gone
Yeah.
through like 10 changes. Because
Yeah.
again, when we say fourth
Cue the
pregnancy,
butterfly.
you're like pregnant,
Lava.
not pregnant,
Yeah.
not pregnant, pregnant,
Yeah.
not pregnant, pregnant,
Yeah.
given birth. It's so many changes. So I think I was like, wow, even next time for me, I'm going to be kinder to myself.
Yes.
Dave has also seen how the changes, because I mean, moods, you've gotten used to pregnancy, you know, the emotions and the hormones, that changes in like an instant. And then now postpartum switches with your menses back. I was just like, I don't even feel like how I was before I was pregnant. I'm just like, who am I? I've been like 6 people in the span of 2 years.
Yes.
So having grace for that for yourself, and then
grace.
also, you know, for your partner to also really have grace.
Do you feel like the miscarriage experiences made you a different kind of parent than what you would have been if you hadn't gone through them?
Of course.
What do you think you'd have been if you
Like,
hadn't?
like she was saying, like, you know, when you grow up in an environment that doesn't talk a lot about relationships, marriage, and you know, parenting, what you watch will be your expectation.
Of course, yes.
You know, so they don't show you these things in your favorite movies, or you know, they don't show you. They just show, oh, the wedding was amazing. You know, tin, 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 tin,
Yeah.
close the curtains, and then after a while, baby bump, and then that's all they show you.
Yes.
So of course that's the expectation. You know, it's like, oh man, like we love each other. Let's do this. You know, it's time to have a baby. Automatically, you have a baby. You know, so when it doesn't work, you're like, hey.
What's not
I
happening?
understand why
What's
they call
wrong
it
with me?
trying for a baby. I was
Baby,
like,
yes,
trying?
try for what
You
you
miss.
Yeah.
Like,
Yeah.
You know, when there's a time someone in the community asked us, "Are you guys trying?" And I was partially offended.
Yeah.
This was before all the miscarriages.
Yeah.
I was like, "What do you mean trying?
Trying?
See, this thing you just near it happens."
Are you trying to breathe?
Are you trying to eat your meal?
Hey, for me, I was like,
It's A plus AB.
you just
Yeah.
get it on and it happens.
Yeah.
Naivety, the type of naivety you're saying you
I
miss.
miss it.
And so later on, it's like, guy, by the people actually try.
Yeah.
You know?
It's
So
not an instant for
It's
everybody.
not an insult to be asked whether you're
It's
trying.
true.
You
Yeah.
know?
As long as it's asked well.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Also,
Yeah.
there's that.
Yeah.
Not just coming to ask for the sake of asking.
Because hizi vitu mbili ziliwekwa hapa
Limbaya
katika
zinaweza
ticha
kuchomea.
mapua na huku.
There's a trauma.
Kuchomea vibaya sana.
So, any similarities? Actually, this is your question to ask.
Kogi has not answered. Did you?
Oh, sorry.
I keep thinking, of course, when a baby is coming, whether you've gone through loss or not, I want to hope and I think, you know, you'd be happy.
Yeah.
So I know, first I looked forward to it. I used to dream about it ever since I was like, as much as I can remember, maybe 8. I used to want to be a mom. Yes, I used to want to be a mom so bad. So of course now just picture that huge fire truck just and I was like, wow, such a, like, you know, just where to hit life. Wow, thanks. What I think is different because of loss is now I'm kinda, I don't go asking questions, you know, with people's journeys. And then also
Oh, yes.
the truth, and again, it would have been naivety, and honestly, it would be just me in my joy sharing my story, and I'd be like, oh yeah, us guys, you know, and then immediately, and then we had a baby, and just God is good, and I've been annoying the slap you.
I know.
I want to just slap you so bad kind, but I think it's if nothing else, I've gotten empathy.
True.
Just empathy, and even if someone's story, and what I'd want to say, even if you don't go through loss, and for you, si uongo, yani tu, the deed is done, you test sijui how short,
Set
like
2
2
plates,
days, you know, and it's
Yeah.
like we are pregnant. I knew it, you know. Just be kind with your story for others. Not that you're dialing down your joy, but
No.
imagine just be kind. Me, I've learned, I probably would have been there annoying. I can see at I'm being bad. I'd have been just like, wow, isn't God so good?
Yeah.
Isn't life so good? Just,
Yeah.
but I want to slap that person.
And then like you're saying, it makes you not get into other pools of business.
Oh, I think that's the one thing that I'd wanted to say. I'm like, it made me a bit more sensitive to people, and I wouldn't want to be in your business unless you have invited me.
Yeah.
There's a place also when I've been invited, there's only as far as I can go.
Yeah.
You know, I'd wait for you to probe and ask, or I wouldn't just impose myself
Yeah.
to your own biashara. Oh, congratulations, I pray for the best, I pray for this and that, good health for your baby, for yourself, a good pregnancy, a fantastic childbirth experience, and leave it at that. I wouldn't just go to up all the time. Please, I also want to give you space because those are things I
You have to
love.
process it. Yeah.
I'm like, no, I really wanted the space to myself. I'm like, okay, this is a new thing.
Yeah.
I have never carried a pregnancy to full term before. I have experienced loss. So I want to go through it with my family first, and then from there, then we can discuss about it. So it was such a private thing for me because of the experience that I had. If I didn't go through loss, as Poki was saying, chatterbox, oh, here we are, this is what happened. Every day I'd want to update them. What?
It's true.
No, I'm very sensitive, and I've learned to probably keep certain things to myself just to go through. I'm like, gosh, I mean, I just grew. In those 9 months, I grew to be a different woman.
The interesting thing about birth and the birth process, in my opinion, is that it's not just a baby that's coming, but new things are being birthed in your life.
Yes.
And so you have to be very careful about the seeds that you allow into the fertility of your mind.
That's very true.
Because you might give birth to a lot of pessimism, a lot of fear, because it's not just that you're giving birth, you're in a birthing process.
Wow, interesting, because I mean, just
That's
imagine
very
the vulnerability that we are in as women when we're giving birth, and how triggered we are. The little thing you say, we take it to heart.
Yeah.
Because I think we are it's a fertile ground to grow anything. If you say I'm beautiful and I've just given, yet I know I just look like I'm wrecked. But if you say it, I still believe it. And if you tell me, oh gosh, you're the most ugly woman I've ever seen since I got married to you. So it's fertile ground to grow. That's so...
It's interesting
really
because
interesting.
as this baby is in the process of being birthed,
So are you.
so are you.
Yeah, as a
That's actually
father,
really
as a
interesting.
mother.
Yeah.
That's
I actually have a poem that I wrote about that.
Oh, wow.
Some time back,
Because if the baby comes and you are still the old person you are when the baby was conceived.
God actually told her specifically,
Yeah.
with this baby, you will be born anew.
But no, it wasn't Jasmine. It was with the first miscarriage. So unpacking all that, because I was like, you'll be born anew, and I was like, at that point again, the sweet naivety, and I'm just like, wow, Lord, thank you for this word. Like, I'll hold it, I'll cherish, and then hey, I'm just like you, guns and robbers, friends. But I really have, when I look through it, just even with every change, with every miscarriage, with even Jasmine being born, like, man, for me, the way he's saying, you have to handle, and you have to like shika your fears and just say you better die, because there's this quote I remember reading, it must have been 2016, and it's Lisa Bevesh saying, your children will either inherit the promises of God or your fear. And I remember I was like, wow, at that point,
So
you're like
deep,
kids, some
so
point.
zen.
Then later, immediately when you gave birth, I was like, wow, God, this is territory I've never been in. I'm so used to hoping, and then like we lose a baby, and then now we're here. And I was like, even when we went through pregnancy, I was afraid, but then the baby was in my belly, but now they're here, and there's all these things. And around that time, on social media, everywhere I check Instagram, it would always be trafficking. So do you know what? And I'm just like, God, fear. So I had to really like cut fear. And then when I think, man, I've cut it, something else comes, and I'm like, I'm also cutting you. So that divorcing fear, for real, like we did the hard work, and I think that's when I realized, and maybe I even saw someone write it somewhere in a book, and they were just like, if you just want peace, just surrender. Those ones for like, God, you are a child. I know I gave birth. I'm just like, you are a child, so that I don't have to worry about anything. Your child needs this. Your child needs to get new clothes. Your child needs food. Your child needs like to be. Those ones for, it is God's child. Yes, ni mtoto wangu, but then like, because the fear will be like, how will I protect from this traffic?
The focus is on your ability.
And it was driving me mad, and I just had to be like, you know what, God, your child needs, and that really helped. I think he was more anchored, but let me tell you, and being honest again with your husband, with your partner. I had to tell Dave every single time, so I dreamt this, so I'm feeling this, everywhere it's trafficking. It was so scary. I had to just, and he'd just help bring things into perspective.
That thing of fear, I've come to fear doesn't just fade away with time. It has to be violently fought.
Forced
Yeah.
out.
What does
You
the
have to
scripture say
fight,
about that? It says what? Love?
power,
Cast.
love, and casts out.
It casts. It doesn't
perfect
say.
love.
It just
It
ushers
drives
it out.
away,
Yeah.
ushers
Oh,
it. You
says
cast it
bye-bye.
out, get
Let me
out.
tell
It's
you,
forceful.
love is violent.
Yeah.
Oh, it is.
Let me tell you, if you're to see Remani almost going fall over a very, you'd
Oh.
throw everything, the microphone in
And like I am going to save my son.
That's the power of love.
Yeah.
So why don't we do that when it's to love ourselves?
Yeah.
You know, why don't we, with the same verve and vigor, fight to remove fear from ourselves?
Yeah.
Why are we passive when it comes to removing fear from ourselves?
Where we
You know, that's interesting
playing with
because
babysitting here.
when you look at 2 Timothy, God has not given us a spirit of fear, but of power, love.
Sound mind.
So it's interesting that love and power
Yeah.
are tag teaming.
Yep.
And a sound mind
And a
also
sound
because
mind.
And a
that's
sound
the,
mind,
the
soberness.
best
To
place-
fight one thing, yeah,
Yes.
that means it can, wow.
Yeah.
It comes to steal all those things, sound mind,
Yeah.
love, and also power.
And your power,
It
yeah.
takes it away.
Yeah.
Wow, it's very interesting.
Wow. The last question, and not the list of the questions. So what exactly do you know for sure about parenting and marriage?
When you love and you grow and you build one another, and when you as an individual come with a heart of giving to the other person, I often say when two people come together to give, they both receive much more than they gave. So I know for sure if you have people who are dedicated to one another, who love one another, who grow one another, and who build one another, there's very, very few things that you'll not be able to surmount together.
What I know for sure about parenting, about marriage, and also having a child after loss is that it'll soften every hard place in you, and it'll honestly make you better than before. It'll make you more connected, even though it looks like you wouldn't, that you'd be rough, that you'd be harder. It really softens the hard places in you. And I, especially when it comes to being a parent, I find that I am kinder to strangers. Like even for me, when I became a parent and having a child, anytime when I see someone, no matter the age, I look at them from the lens of a parent, and I'm like, I can't say angale umjinga because I'm like, will I talk like that? Would I want to hear someone talk like that about Jasmine? I'm like, ugh. So it's made me so soft in every place where I'd be quick to dismiss and hard, and that's for sure what I know for sure.
That's beautiful.
Do you know for sure?
Oh, you
Because
know
now
for sure.
our experiences are very
What do you
similar.
know
So
for sure?
But honestly, what I know for sure is what David said. That two people who are committed to move and build one another, there's nothing that they can't face together. Particularly, I say two people is in marriage, where you have the mandate of doing things together as one. Then it's such a force that there's nothing that can easily break you if you are committed. Because I know there are people who are still married, but some things can say, I'm done with you and I'm done with you. But if there's that place of oneness, there's nothing, it's not parenting. It's not a miscarriage that can put you guys asunder. It's not family and in-laws who come and want to dictate on how you guys should do parenting or how you guys should do marriage. None of that that I know for sure. If you're two dedicated people and God at the center of it all, nothing can break you.
And first of all, if you are here, a baby crying. Did I say if you are here?
Yeah.
Gosh.
If you can hear a baby crying in the background,
What we know for sure, it's their baby.
what you know for sure, that's my son, and he's okay.
He's
We are
fine,
not
okay.
bad parents.
Yeah,
Sometimes he fights sleep,
Yeah.
but he'll get it.
Yeah.
But anyway, what I know for sure is, especially if you've suffered miscarriages or stillbirths or any kind of loss, there's hope. There's hope. I won't tell you how to sort it out, because I think that's something you have to seek out at personal level. For some people, it could be a spiritual issue, so it needs to be sorted out spiritually. For some, it's biological, so all you need to go is to go to the doctor and have it sorted. For some people, it's psychological. You just need to be in the proper state of mind. So that's up to you, but there's hope. And secondly, your value, because we live in an African context. And sometimes as a woman, your value, when you reach a certain age, your value will be dependent on whether you have a child or not. But the truth of the matter is that as long as you're breathing, you're valuable.
Amen.
Whether there's a child in the picture or not. So don't allow the pressure of society to make you feel less because you've not had a child yet or you've had miscarriages. Your value is in the fact that you're a human being. That's what I know for sure. Yeah. So guys,
You guys, you're refreshing.
cheers. Thanks for tuning in. Like, share, comment, subscribe.
Share,
Now,
share,
your
share.
comments are very important, guys. Please comment.
Yeah.
Don't just like and move on.
Yeah.
Like, comment, talk about this, share this channel,
Share it,
share this content,
And
let
have these
people know about
conversations.
it. And have these
Have
conversations.
these conversations.
Yeah. And yeah, that's it. Cheers.
Bye-bye.
Ladies and gentlemen, karibuni sana.
Imagine don't want to be like Just try.
If it's not broken, don't fix it.
Some people
What
do
if you
the
break your hands and then they need
closing
fixing?
hand.
Yeah.
Aye.
Try another way of starting it.
Ladies and gentlemen.